Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Skookum Report. Thanks for coming, and tonight is part 3 of our interview with Kevin Caylor Sr. I hope you all enjoy it. We're going to get right into it here. We're back with Kevin Caylor on the Skookum Report. This will be part 3. Kevin, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing just fine. Right there.
You got a good story for us tonight, don't you?
I hope it is right there. On this, it's I've heard them and all this, but this one right here, it was scary for me, but I really enjoyed. It made me look like an idiot, but I really enjoyed it. I can still laugh about it years later, but be kind of scared about it right there. I want to start out because the last time I told on part 2 was back in 1982, and I moved away from the town of Hardin City to Shawnee, Oklahoma. And during that period of time, I would keep going back to Hardin City, Fisttown, because the honest truth is it's got the best fishing there was, where I could enjoy bass fishing. Where during that all them years going by, I would take my son with me to go fishing every week, and every chance I could get, I would take him. Now, we would hear signs of Bigfoot around. We could also know about things being quiet, and we would always make sure that we would leave before around 5 o'clock from all day fishing and head on back to Shawnee, because you would always, every single time, you feel the presence of Bigfoot. Mm-hmm. But during that period of time, my son had never seen Bigfoot. Mm-hmm. And so when he turned 16, and this is during the summertime of 97, I decided it was time for him to try to teach him how to be a man and teach him how to be brave right there when he sees strange things. Mm-hmm. So I went ahead and made a drive on down there with me and my son over the weekend. And I waited till around actually 3 o'clock, and it was an hour drive to get there. But because I knew I wanted him to actually see a Bigfoot, I knew exactly where I had to go. But it was just trying to teach my son to be a man. Sure. Yeah, I mean, he was always being like a teenager, just not doing things all the way through. But I just wanted to teach him a little bit about, toughness or fear and happiness.
But there's other things out there, yeah.
Yeah, so I went ahead, and when I got there, it was, I would say around 4:30 around that time. And I parked on my in-laws' land, and we went ahead and crossed over the fence. And I guess we walked about 300 yards. I knew exactly the space I wanted to go. And we was walking through the trees, and we was coming upon a clearing, that's when I saw these forms take off from this one spot. Okay. And looking up there, and I figured, like I said, that was exactly the spot I wanted to get there. But I could tell they was actually the Bigfoot that took off. I didn't anticipate that many at that time, because what I seen was 4 of them. So I told my son, I said, Junior, I said, we're going to walk up here. I said, I want you to be real calm. I said, don't jerk. I said, don't scream, don't yell. I said, all these years I've told you these stories. I said, just listen, I'm telling you how you should do. So we walk on up there to the boulder. Now, I want to kind of describe this. There was a boulder 3 foot thick, about 6 foot round, semi-round on the ground, and right behind it was a big, I would say 6 foot around oak tree, just a big old oak tree. And on top of this boulder, these Bigfoot was actually had some grub on top of it, little worms and bugs right there. But right next to that, they had a pile the size of a dinner plate, almost the size of a dinner plate, stacked up with these wild plums. Now, I've heard other people talk about, neighbors and stuff down there talking about how these Bigfoot would take fruit, things like that they had, and pluck them off the trees and things.
Oh, yeah.
But this was actually a perfect pile of the yellowish orange, the wild plums that grow. And wild plums they grow around a lot of rivers where there's sandy area, creeks. Mm-hmm. You'll find that they're not big trees, probably around as big as round as your arm, but they make the best, sweetest little wild plums you can imagine. Well, what I went ahead and did, I went ahead and sat on the boulder, and there was a rock across from me and where my son was sitting at. Behind me was the big old oak tree, and it was right next to the boulder, and across from me, looking at my son, behind my son, about 100 yards away, there was another tree down there. And I said, now, we got the Bigfoot around. I said, just keep calm. Then my son, he looked up while we was just yakking right there. I was doing calm. And I saw his old eyes get real big and around. And he started looking up above my head. And I looked at him and I said, now, there's a Bigfoot behind me. he said, yeah, Dad. He said it just came out from behind the big tree behind you.
Oh, Lord.
So I've got a Bigfoot standing behind me. Now, my son told me it was about a good 10-footer itself. It was actually the male, and I would just go ahead and call it an alpha male. But I do know he was a brown, this regular brown, a good 5 inches on all the hair from around his face, not his face exactly, but above his forehead, on the sides, underneath, all hair, big giant build, like in the first one that I told you about when I was in Mississippi. He had big arms, their hands went down to the kneecaps. And now I saw that after me and my boy we started walking away. But my son, he was doing that, and I told him, I said, just don't make no movements. I said, we're sitting here. I said, we're right.
About how far away was he? At the wood line or something?
He was I'm sitting on the boulder. The boulder's about 6 foot roundish, mm-hmm. and the oak tree is leaning right next on touching the boulder. So if I'm looking at 6, 7, 8, he's 8 foot behind me.
Oh, that close.
Yeah. And he was behind the tree. He steps out. My son sees it. I've got my back to it. Mm-hmm. Now, I didn't smell him. Now, this is something, I'll reiterate again. I have never actually smelled or been around a Bigfoot that actually smelled.
Yeah, there's a lot of stories, encounters where they say they can just smell them. They get that stench in the air, and in different parts of the country, maybe it's different. I don't know.
Okay, I would want, if you could ask people, maybe they can comment to you. Every place that I've been around the Bigfoot, though, it's been clear running streams.
Yeah, okay.
And not dirty, no swamp areas, anything like that. And I don't know if maybe that might have something to do with their smell, or,
maybe they get in the water. I mean, I've heard accounts where that people have seen Bigfoots in the water up to their chest, stuff like that.
It may be, I've heard them being in lakes and things. I've heard them stinking and things like that. But these no wind involved. It was a hot summer day, and it was about 95 and 100 degrees at that time of day. Sure. This was in July or August at the time. I just know it was hot, pouring sweat. But I never smelled nothing. But behind my son, at 100 yards behind, there was a female Sasquatch there, Bigfoot, and 2 younger. Now the younger ones, I couldn't tell if they was male or female. They were all of the same color, brownish. The female did have the breast. I could tell even from that distance, you could tell.
Yeah, okay.
Well, the first thing that happened, we're sitting there. I've got the plums next to me with the little bugs and stuff to it. The female just starts screaming, and
the female did.
It was a female who actually initiated it. The big male that was behind me didn't do nothing. He was just standing there. He wasn't swaying or nothing. He's just standing there looking down at my son and me. My son couldn't. He was flabbergasted. He just had all I can tell you, he had his mouth open, and I've never seen a boar so scared in his life. I mean, he couldn't breathe. I mean, he was just gapped. But the female,
his first time seeing one, right?
That was his very first time. The only time he was just a few months old in 1982 when they was staring through our windows and going around our town.
Gotcha.
So he just didn't know. But now he had always come with me through all that 16 years fishing down there with me, but I would never stay there long enough for the time for them to come out.
Yeah,
because as a dad, as a dad, I feared for and I would bring my daughter quite a bit because I wanted her to learn how to fish and do all that also. But when she turned 13, she told me, "Dad, I ain't gonna do that no more. I'm a teenager. I got to be around girls."
Right. Being kids. But, yeah, I remember in either part 1 or part 2, I can't remember, but you said about you would always pack up when you're fishing. You'd always pack up. People always never went in the woods at dark.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Everything that was done down in that country, actually, everyone starts to work just before the sun comes up. If you're going to have fun, going to go swim, whatever, hunting, everything was done during the daytime up to about 5 o'clock. And actually, besides Bigfoot, that being the reason, rattlesnakes, most snakes, nighttime they hunt. Water moccasins, they come out at night, going down creeks and rivers and streams. It is not safe to actually be doing any of that stuff when it starts getting dark. But getting back to the story, the female, she let out screaming, and she was actually, I don't know if people's heard about like panthers, mountain lions screaming. That's exactly what she was doing. But she had a good old tree. It was I guess about 1.5 feet around, but she was shaking the whole tree, and she wasn't no 10-footer. She was a good 8 foot. But by the way she was actually shaking that tree, I know she could have pulled the thing up. I mean, because we're not talking about just limbs up above her swaying and stuff. The whole tree itself was moving from the ground on up. The two small, and I will say there's around the 4 foot height, both of them were, but they was on each side of the female.
What were they doing when she was screaming and shaking the tree?
They was just their arms was away from their body. The legs was bent a bit, but they was looking at us. Now we're talking about, it's about 100, like I said, 100 yards away. I couldn't get a clear look at exactly at the faces. I could tell the faces was brownish, dark, and like I said, the same hair color. But she was getting madder. She would, I'm trying to, they scream, and now panthers give out like a baby. When a panther gives a scream, they sound like a panther, but they also sound like a baby screaming. Yeah,
I've heard that people hear babies crying in the woods.
Well, that's exactly what it was sounding, and then and in the mixture with that, there was the loud growling. Now, I could tell she was mad. I mean, I'm sitting here right next to their lunch, and
right, that's what I was saying. It's dinner time. You're sitting on our table.
Yeah, and one thing I did notice when me and my son went to sit down, I looked down at my feet and looked at the bottom of the boulder. Now, I saw these giant finger marks, and I know they was Bigfoot. I mean, they looked like fingers on a human, but a whole lot bigger. But then when I looked around real good, I could tell this boulder, now it's 3 foot thick, 6 by, and I know it's made out of granite. The whole area is down there. Yeah, it's mountainous, and it's all gray granite all over. But this giant boulder, you could see exactly where he reached underneath with both hands, got his fingers underneath, but it had actually lifted the boulder, and that's where I figured out where he got the grubs and the bugs from, but it got set back down just a few inches over.
Right.
And you could see the giant imprint where it was actually sunk in the ground.
Man. And that's all granite. Granite is heavy.
Yeah, yeah. Anyone who knows anything about rocks, mountains, anything like that, you know, just a little basketball-sized piece of granite is just, oh my goodness, 80 to 100 pounds.
80 pounds.
Yeah, real heavy. But now I'm standing on something, and I've been a stonemason for 35 years and doing extra stone, and like I said, later down, we came back about a month or so back later, and we tried to actually move the same boulder, and there was no way we could even, me and my son together couldn't budge, couldn't do nothing to it.
Well, how'd you get out of there when she was screaming and shaking the tree? And
well, I knew right then. My son had told me after we left, but he said, Dad, we need to leave. He said, and now my son wasn't being loud because I told his son, I said, don't make no sudden movements. I said, talk to me like you were just talking calm. But I noticed that, like I said, I've been around long enough when it comes to animals, like dogs or anything else, when they get worked up, the best thing to do is to be calm.
Yeah.
Just like they said, if you see a bear, just go walk away slowly. Don't run, don't act excited. That's one thing I learned, and that's something I taught my son also. Well, when I saw my son, he looked like he was more, I guess at that time, you know, he saw something going on behind me. I said, son, we're going to get up real calm. I said, let's not be loud or nothing. I said, we're going to walk back to the vehicle, the truck. I said, the way we came, and I said, just keep on talking like we're just talking, you know, softly. Well, we started walking away. I didn't turn around. I could hear the breathing behind us, even after we had walked, 75 feet. You could still hear the breath from the breath. And it was a heavy, deep, I don't know it was so heavy and deep and loud. It reminded me of when I was in bed and I had that one being over us, but it was, you know, it had a deep breathing, but this one, well, I guess it was agitated because it was a heavy breathing with just a little bit of a growl combined. Okay. But I wasn't going to turn around. My son wasn't going to turn around. We kept on going. And when I got to the tree line, that's when I actually turned around, and I had actually seen the Bigfoot then, but he was a good 30 feet from us at that time. I told myself, now we run. But we took off running all the way back to, like I said, about 300 yards back, and went back over the fence, really through the fence and out of the tree line, and jumped right into the truck, started, and we took off. But my son had told me, he said, Dad, he said, when he came out there and he could hear the female behind doing the screaming, growling. He said, but Dad, he said, the male, when that started up, the male, he said, it had the thick, heavy brow, big, wide mouth, a flat nose, wide. It was a wide nose, brown skin for the face. But he said when the female started doing that, he said, Dad, he said the Bigfoot behind, he said it actually opened its mouth up and it showed its teeth.
Oh my God.
And he said that the forehead creased out where he said that he could tell it was angry.
Oh.
And now it didn't make no noise.
I've heard a lot of encounters where people at that moment they lose control of their bodily functions right there.
Well, the good thing about being in construction, you learn how to hold. And when you're driving, you learn on hold. I got about a mile down. Well, I actually got a mile down the road, and I had a stop in the middle of the road, and me and my son both jumped out, and we just pissed.
Right. I mean, some people actually pee their pants, you know.
I did, yeah. Well, I tell you, I didn't want to chance that at the time right there. You know, I don't know their sense, but I just knew I wasn't going to pee on myself right then.
Well, no. What I mean is they don't even realize that they peed on themselves.
Oh, well, I wasn't in that point. I just know when I had gotten in the truck, me and him both, and started taking off. I mean, we took off looking to make sure it didn't come onto the property, to the in-laws' property.
Mm-hmm.
And then by the time we got a mile, there was no more we could take. You know, we both looked at it, right. We got to go pee.
Had to take a leak, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we had to go real bad, but when we got home, we told the wife and the daughter about what happened right then, but she kind of blew us off.
Really?
You know, it was like, it's been a long time since she had seen him right there, and me and my boy, we like to joke a whole lot.
Yeah.
Tell tall tales, but actually, but no, he had told me what the Bigfoot looked like behind me, what it was doing at the time, and I was telling him what the female was doing. Like I said, He could hear all that, but he actually described what the Bigfoot was doing behind the tree when it stepped down. It was just looking at us right there, and until I actually saw it when I got about 100 feet away. But
I can picture in my mind what opening his mouth and showing his teeth. I probably would have took off running. And
well, yeah, he gave that. I guess the right term was he gave a scrowl. Scowled.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what my son was telling me. Yeah. But it was his first time of getting to see it. And believe it or not, he continued to keep going even after he grew up and got married. Even to this day, he's almost 40. He's 39 right now. But he still makes that drive to go down there to do his fishing. He hunts.
He leaves it at dark.
Well, he still does. Now, he hunts in different states. He's a bow and arrow hunter, and he's real good. He served in the Navy, the Army, did his tours there.
Wow.
But when it goes back down there, now he never does stay past 5.
Right.
That's one thing. Now he's told me stories that when he's been down there, and he says, Dad, they are still down there. He says, you still feel them?
Yeah, you get that feeling of the hair standing up on the back of your neck. And
and he leaves, and that's what I'm saying. My second wife, I started taking her down there, and she would tell me it was time to leave.
Oh, really?
And when the 5 o'clock would come around, 5 to 5:30, we never did carry watchers or anything, but she says, Kevin, there's something's watching us. She says, I know it's around. I can feel it. Well, her hair would be picking up, mine will, and we just automatically leave right there.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you have any questions you want to ask about that. But I'm so...
It's a place where, you could go back today and you could probably see activity still today.
Yeah. It's rocky. going back on the place, the in-laws' land there. Actually, down the line, I could tell a person how to get there.
What's the name of the town? And
that
so
town.
People know where you're talking about.
Okay, I had lived in Hardin City.
Is this Arkansas?
Oh, no, this is Oklahoma.
Oklahoma, yeah.
Yeah, it is from Ada. That's in the southern part of Oklahoma.
Ada, Oklahoma.
From Ada, going south, like you're heading to Lake Texoma, even to the town of Durant. It's a bigger town, but about 20 miles outside of Ada, going south, you run into Fisttown. 5 miles from it is Hardin City. Another 5 miles is Stonewall. Okay. Fisttown is where this story was about, what I'm talking right here. Where I lived before on the second part, that was in Hardin City. Okay. But Fisttown, and I'll just give you a real quick direction because, like I said, that land there is family owned right there, and no one's on it anyway. But it's still in my family right there. But you can go, as you enter into Fisttown on the highway, what you're going to do, you're going to cross over a creek going underneath the highway. It's called Mills Creek, Mills Creek. Right when you cross it, there's a road that turns right, and then just but if you go on the highway, there'll be a road that goes to your left, and that heads towards Hardin City. But right as you cross over the Mills Creek, you take a right down that road. It winds. You go exactly 1 mile. And what you're doing, you're going up and down these rocky little hills. They're not real tall hills, but they're hills. But they're covered with brush, scrub brush, rocks. It's real super rocky country with, just a lot of wooded area. But you go exactly 1 mile, there's a place that still has a metal shed I built back in 1980, made out of tin. You can park anywhere in that whole area. You can actually pull off the side of the road, and you just walk straight up. You'll have a pasture on the left-hand side, but on the right-hand side of the road, that's where you're going up the hill into all the... You cross over there, and you're going to cross over a fence because the old boy has it. He has a lot of cattle on it. Now there's one thing you will find is you'll find a lot of cow bones out there. Okay. And now I know for a fact they kill the cows. The Bigfoot do.
Right. I've heard.
But now you walk up that hill on that empty place right there with that it's about 20 by 20 by about 15 foot tall. You go across that fence and you take a left. You see all wooded area. You can go left and you go about 300 yards. Now, every single bit of that is Bigfoot country.
There's good directions too.
Yeah, they're there, and yeah. I have no problems. I don't believe in hunting Bigfoot, but I believe in 100% if you can take pictures of them. I would tell you right now, don't get all worked up, excited. Right. And I would not say if you're going to bring somebody, I wouldn't bring a lot of people with you, but if you do, bring like 10 people or less, you need to be quiet. No quick movements, nothing like that, not a lot of jousting, all this kind of stuff. You just can't do that. But you will find them there after 5 o'clock in the evening.
Wow, that's incredible.
That whole area, like I said, every night I stayed there, I had an operation back in the 80s, and I went down there for a couple of weeks. But I know for every single night we had Bigfoot crosses the property every single night.
Wow. What if somebody went out there, say 2 people went out there in those woods that follow these directions you're giving, went out there in those woods and set up a tent and stayed overnight? What do you think would happen?
I think they're gonna meet a Bigfoot. I mean, now I can give you my word on that. I'm not gonna say if it's. They would have to worry about rattlesnakes. I'll tell them flat out, don't be walking around.
Right.
That is, there are giant rattlesnakes down there. There is some giant rattlesnakes. The place is loaded with baby rattlesnakes everywhere. And I would tell people, there's a little store in town and they sell stovepipe.
Mm-hmm.
I would tell people to get themselves some stovepipe and wrap around from their knee down to their boots.
Really?
Because every time you walk in the evening, now everybody down there does the same. They all have stovepipe. They all go walking in the evening, but you can hear ping, ping, ping. Those are rattlesnakes hitting your legs.
You're kidding me. That is crazy. I've never heard that.
The rattlesnakes, like all snakes,
man.
Well, yeah, I mean, but they really do. It will ping you. Snakes hunt at night.
Yeah.
They don't come out during
the stovepipe.
Yeah, but they will hit. They don't get you above your knee, but they do hit down low. But
oh my goodness.
I've always wore shoes, tennis shoes, but I've always used stovepipe when it comes to evening time. Daytime, you don't have to worry about it.
Gotcha. That's something good.
Rattlesnakes, like any other snake, they don't like it being real hot. That's why they do the hunting at nighttime. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, Bigfoot is out. But if anyone's hearing, if there's somebody who's really serious wanting to see a Bigfoot, I gave the directions. I'll be glad to, if someone doesn't catch it, I'll be glad to tell Bob again exactly how to get there, exactly how many miles to get there.
If somebody wants to contact me, if they're watching my channel, they can contact me, and I'll put them in touch with you if they're very serious.
Yeah, the first Bigfoot sightings started back in the turn of 1900, and they just multiplied. But one thing I do know is perfect country. There's natural springs all over the place. There's creeks everywhere.
Now, there must be caves. There's got to be caves.
There is caves all over that country.
Okay.
We have 2 Black Panther. They may not be alive no more, I mean, after all these years, but I'm sure. Now, that is Panther country down there. You got mountain lions down there. You have coyotes running down there. But I don't worry about none of that. It's just the Bigfoot that
right.
ever bothered me.
And the rattlesnakes. Mm.
But I can tell you this, during the summertime, or even the wintertime, but the summertime, the Bigfoot are out at night. Okay. They cross the properties anywhere from 9 o'clock on. They walk on property. You got fruit trees all over that part of the country on top of it. Like I said, the sand plums and stuff.
So they got plenty to eat.
There is plenty. Now I'm gonna say this again. I've never, in all the years I've been down there, I've never seen a deer though.
Right. Well, they got cows, you said.
Well, yeah, there's cows, but it's odd though. I've walked them woods from 1980 to 2002 when I finally moved out of Oklahoma. But in all them years, I never seen one deer around them towns outside of town. And I don't know. I don't know if that's, and people, I've never heard of any hunters hunting for deer down there.
What do they hunt mainly?
Well, they do a lot of coons, small animals. Yeah, they hunt coyotes. They still, it's still a money making business down there for coyote coats.
Okay. What about turkeys?
Now there's plenty of turkeys. Gotcha. Now that's one thing. The turkeys, though, across from the road where I said there's a field, it's where they plant their crops. Now that during the winter time, the early morning hours, there's a lot of always turkey down there. But now when it comes to deer, and my own hypothesis over that. I think actually, I've heard a lot of people over the years talking about how Bigfoot love deer to eat.
Yeah, I've heard that. I mean, I know that, and I've also heard that I'm no expert. No, I think nobody's a Bigfoot expert, but there's just theories and ideas. But I heard that they're vegetarian. I've heard that they eat meat. I've heard that different parts of the country they eat different things. In some parts of the country, I've heard they just eat fruit and plants and different kind of grubs and things like you were talking about. I don't think anybody knows for sure because they, can't watch them.
I believe I believe though they got to have a protein. I believe they got to have a meat because, like I said, when I came upon the boulder, there was bugs on there plus grub worms.
Right.
And, then there's that pile of wild plums right next to them.
Mm-hmm.
So I know, worms and stuff, but that is to me a protein type right there. I mean, if they would eat that, then I can, but like you, I'm the same way. I've heard stories, but they either, like I said, either the deer leave or ran off because of Bigfoot.
If there's that many Bigfoot, I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, I know there's plans. There's too many sightings every day and every night about Bigfoot down there. You can walk and talk to anybody living there, and everybody will tell you a Bigfoot story.
This is amazing. I've never heard.
But this happens every single night. I know from 1980 all the way to 2002, I got friends down there, and even up to then, they would say, Kevin, this is what happened last night. This is what happened the other day. And that's why when you look at a map and they say these Bigfoot sightings, okay, we have all seen the maps.
Sure, yeah.
It only showed there was 300 or 400 Bigfoot sightings in Oklahoma?
I'm not sure of exact numbers.
That's what they say is like a total.
Oh, okay.
Well, now that's nonsense.
Yeah, there's got to be way more what it sounds like.
Well, I can tell you, I can guarantee you, in that area, and let's say about a 30-mile round area,
right,
there's that many Bigfoot in that area. Because the amount of time stories I've heard, the descriptions of them, they're showing all different. I'm seeing, and if I can see 4,
yeah,
a big male, the female, and 2 youngsters right there, they're mating and they're producing.
Right.
But there's nothing down there, and I can't think of anything that can actually take out a Bigfoot.
No, yeah.
But like I said, now you feel free to call me. You got my number and stuff. Mm-hmm. If people ask you about these directions, anything,
sure,
you just call me up and let me know, and I'll give them. I give to you. You can relay it to them right there.
You might get a lot of calls.
I had another gentleman I became friends with on another thing, and he actually used Google Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And it Googled down, and what he did, he had it on there where I could touch the screen, and it would pinpoint exactly what. Now I did that exactly for him, and I would put my fingers on it where to spot the screen exactly, where the towns was and where the locations. Yeah. Now he said he's going that area, but I know this morning. I was reading another boy just to the southwest of Ada, and he was talking about Bigfoot went to their tents and stuff, and they had their stuff set up in trees, but the Bigfoot jumped up there, and they said they was 40 feet above the ground in the trees, and they said the Bigfoot actually jumped all the way up and destroyed their tents and everything.
Whoa.
And like I said, this is still happening today.
They were actually camping.
Well, they wasn't in their tents. They was down coming towards when they see this happen.
What do you mean they had tents?
This Bigfoot actually was standing in one place underneath the tree and jumped.
No, I mean the tents. You said they were in the trees?
Yeah, a lot of people have their setups inside the trees, and this, where they do their camping, they have, the hammocks, all this, they have their setups.
Yeah. Okay,
but this is, I guess, on their property right there, and they had, like platforms and stuff up there.
Okay, gotcha.
But the Bigfoot actually just made a jump.
Phew.
I mean, just straight up and got up there and tore the place apart. Now,
well,
I read that this morning.
Really?
4 o'clock this morning. And this guy had been just posting it right there.
Well, if they're 10 feet tall already, I can imagine, plus at their reach, that's not too far a stretch, man, 35, 40 feet.
No, but I've actually seen them jump over roads.
With their muscle, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no, it was like nothing clearing a road from ditch to ditch. And I've read many stories and heard many stories how they can just leap tremendous. Yeah, I can actually believe it.
Yeah.
A human is puny and weak as we are compared to them.
Right. They got their muscles are on a whole different level.
Yeah, and I've seen how they do
trees.
Yeah, I mean, everything about them they're able to do. I've seen them run. I've seen them go over fences. It's like it's nothing. Now, I mean, that sounds weird. I mean, but when you can see Bigfoot every night going over the property, now it scared me to death every single time I see it. It doesn't matter. Even my father-in-law, he went through Vietnam, but my father-in-law would never go out at nighttime. But he always kept a gun with him, a handgun,
right,
just in case one came around. There was only one time when I was down there that one looked in the window. Me and my wife, we stayed in the front room, the front bedroom right there, and we had glanced when the dogs were going nuts. And I guess the window was a good 10 foot off the ground. Now the Bigfoot was actually looking through the window at us.
Wow.
Now they had red eyes, but it shot on off when we both jumped out of bed and to the living room. But this happens every night. Now, and I would tell people, you go down there, you go to Fisttown, in that town you drive exactly where I told you. Start talking to the people. Them people are real friendly.
Yeah.
And they will tell you stories that'll blow your mind.
Oh, wow, man. And that's Fisttown, Oklahoma.
That's Fisttown. That is Fisttown, Oklahoma. And like I said, there's people all around Ada south of, they all have stories. That's why, like I said, when I see these maps showing that there's only a few hundred sightings in Oklahoma, now that's just a lie. That is nothing but a lie. They may be the only ones reported, but if you go to ask anybody down there, they'll tell you.
They're probably the only reported ones.
And like I said, now there is a lot of dogs get killed down there. Now Bigfoot does kill the dogs a lot. And like I said, I know I'm a witness to it. So
right.
Now that's all the story. I mean, I can tell you times hearing them constantly, feeling them, and all that. And now I'm going to contact I've got some brothers who have had plenty of sightings also, and I'll talk to them and see about getting some stories and getting back with you on them, Bob.
Yeah, that sounds great. Definitely. I'll definitely keep in touch with you and see if anything happens in the future or anything.
Well, I'll tell you what, now, it is scary. Now, I mean, I can talk about this, but it is the most scariest thing on earth to come upon a Bigfoot.
Wow. They said it changes people, they say.
Well, because like I took my son down there to try to show him how it was to be like a man and be tough, but he saw his daddy was a coward. I mean, like I said, I felt as the daddy because his daddy was running. And he could see the fear in my face when I was running. But I told him, I said, we ain't going to ever do that again. But now if I ever do get back down there again, and I've talked to another boy, and I told him about a year or two, I plan to make a drive back down there to show him if someone wants to ever go down there during that period of time, I'll be going there, and they are free and they're welcome to come down there and join us.
Huh? How about that? Don't be surprised if you get some phone calls.
Well, I have no problem with that, but now I will tell everybody, I don't believe in shooting to kill a Bigfoot. Right. I don't have nothing against catching him. If you can catch a Bigfoot, have at it.
Good luck.
I would actually help if I could. Just to look, to prove it. I would tell groups. I wouldn't tell their life. I will not tell our government. I don't trust our government for nothing, and I wouldn't tell the police or sheriff's department.
No,
but when I do go back, I'll let people know. But if they want to go ahead of time, I give them the directions. I'll give them down to the yard.
Right. Yeah, somebody is going to want to go.
But like I said, it's when you're actually, I'm laughing about it, I'm joking about it right now, but when you actually are there, you won't be. And the reason why I say bring a gun, because I ain't going to make no promise if you won't get attacked.
Right.
I will tell you right now, don't bring a dog, don't bring a cat, don't bring no animals. These Bigfoot they're not afraid of electronics, anything like that. I know I've heard people saying them in different other states and stuff, but in Oklahoma, it doesn't seem to affect them down that way. And I guess it's because they've been around humans in these towns so long, nothing phases them.
That's incredible.
But I would bring guns anyway for snakes just in case. Bring yourself knives. Bow. Well, a bow, I don't think a bow's going to do you a bit of good.
You ain't got time for a bow if
right. But I would say go ahead and like I said, I don't believe in killing them, but I would bring a gun for protection.
For protection, yes, definitely.
But bring yourself cameras, video, whatever. But like anything in the wooded area, bring something to protect yourself. Bring something for snake bite.
Oh, yeah.
Because a lot of people get bit by rattlesnakes down there. And Ada does have a hospital there that does have for copperheads and rattlesnake. They have the venom
that's good.
serum there. Yeah, they do actually have it there.
Right there in Ada.
Yeah, right there in Ada. So and like I said, that's 30 minutes tops right there to get to it.
I'm just trying something to wrap your legs and wear boots and jeans.
Yeah, because really, there's a lot of it is, like I said, it's rocky country.
No wonder they put their tents in the tree, or they're set up in the trees.
Yeah, it's like that everywhere around, really. It's great.
Stay off the ground.
It is great country to enjoy yourself fishing, climbing, but all during the daytime. Yeah. But evening time, just avoid it. Yeah. But there's nothing. Go ahead and camp out there. You're going to find a Bigfoot. You're going to find a Bigfoot. I'm going to say you can't.
That's awesome.
But that's all I can say on that story right there, Bob. If you got any questions, feel free to ask me. If people want to know anything, you can relate it to me, and you can relate it right back to the people again.
Just put it in the comment section. Anybody wants to leave a comment for Kevin, I'm sure he'll comment back. And man, Kevin, I just want to thank you for being on here. 3 different parts, 3 different nights you've been talking about this, and you really know a lot and got a lot of good information and just some good encounter stories. That's just wonderful.
Well, I appreciate you letting me talk on your post right there.
My pleasure.
these are just stories that I know, that I have seen. I know if I went back down there, I can see more. I know a lot of people's got stories down there. If people just want to go, like I said, if you want to know about Bigfoot, really, well, you don't have to hike miles like people do. This is the place to go.
Right. You don't have to hike up a mountain or nothing like that.
Yeah. And like I said, I'm sure there's people who ain't going to believe this story, and that's fine right there. It's okay. But for those who are doubters, if they doubt, instead of just running your mouth and saying, I don't believe, I gave you the directions.
Right. Go on out there and see what you can see.
Prove me wrong. I gave you, and I can tell you, like I said, it's all there. But I can guarantee you, if you spend a weekend there, you won't come back the same.
That's Kevin Caylor from Arkansas talking about living in southern Oklahoma and all the Bigfoot activity out there in Ada and some surrounding towns. Just make sure if you want to get up with him, leave me a comment and I'll put you in touch with him who can give you directions and all that. Just remember to pack for the occasion. Wear jeans and boots, like he said, some stovepipe or something. Man, that's insane, all that rattlesnakes and copperheads. We don't have that around here where I live. I live in southern Delaware. But anyway, thank you so much for coming back to the Skookum Report. I really appreciate you guys. If you or anybody you knows had an encounter with a Bigfoot and you want to tell your story, just shoot me an email at skookumreport@gmail.com. That's skookumreport@gmail.com. And I'll be sure to get it up on the air for you, get it on the channel so everybody can hear it. You know what I'm saying? So don't forget to subscribe, smash that like button, and leave a comment. Say hi. Tell me how you're all doing. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for coming to the Skookum Report, and I'll see you again soon, probably tomorrow. All right? Take care now. Bye-bye.